Hi everyone, David here from Beyond EV, and today I'm doing something completely different. If you're one of the 700 people who watched my Sydney EV Expo walkthrough, you might have picked up that I was a little bit of a cyclist in a former life. Well, I decided to get back into it and bought a new bike from BikeOnline. And there is a particular reason I'm doing this video, because the brand that makes this bike, I believe, is to the bike world what I believe is BYD to the automotive industry. And that brand is Polygon. Polygon are an OEM manufacturer of bicycle frames and parts and make OEM frames for a number of well-known brands across the world. Their bikes are phenomenal quality. I've owned one before and ridden them before, and that's why I went with another one. After doing a bit of research on this particular bike, there wasn't a lot of info on the internet about it. So I wanted to be one of the first to do a full, proper unboxing and review of the Polygon Bend R2 gravel bike. So if you're familiar with Beyond EV, you probably recognize where I am right now. Yes, this is my backdrop, and yes, it is my garage door, as you can tell by all the junk and stuff I've got either side of it, which I crop out whenever I make a video. But this is where I'm going to be unboxing the Polygon Bend R2 I've just picked up. Now, why did I get a gravel bike? A gravel bike is pretty much right in the middle between a mountain bike and a road bike. Basically, take a mountain bike and put road bike handlebars on it, and more or less that's what you get when you get a gravel bike. And that's pretty much what I wanted to do. I started off mountain bike riding and actually did that on a Polygon bike originally for a number of years. Getting out to the trails was getting more and more difficult, so I wanted to ride out from my house. So I went out and bought a road bike, and I started riding road for a couple of years and basically just got bored of it, just being stuck to road all the time. So getting back into it, I wanted to get the best of both worlds. I'm too old now to be hitting jumps and gaps and things like that. So this, I believe, is a good all-rounder for my particular use case. Now, the Bend R2 in particular is the entry-level bike in Polygon's Bend range of bikes. There's about 2 or 3 different versions of it. This is the cheapest model, and there's not many professional reviews on it because for some reason bike reviewers don't review entry-level bikes. They just don't. This, I think, is a great bike for anyone looking to get a sort of do-it-all bike, and if you're just looking for a bike to get around and you're not really into bikes at all, this, I reckon, is actually a phenomenal bike for anyone looking to get a bike just as a do-it-all bike. So, without further ado, let's crack out the box cutter and open this bad boy up. So I've got my trusty box cutter, so let's crack it open. And while I'm doing it, I wanted to just clarify a little bit about the geometry of bikes and what makes a gravel bike different to a road bike and a mountain bike. Well, a mountain bike, the geometry of it is designed to keep the rider stable. You want to have that confidence when you're riding pretty quick down a hill, trying to avoid obstacles left, right, and center. So to do that, the wheelbase of a mountain bike is longer, and the front wheel tends to poke out further in front of you. So if you do hit a root or something like that, the likelihood of you going over the handlebars is minimized. Road bike is different. Road bike sits you more like this, more bent over, and the front wheel is tucked pretty much underneath you, and the wheelbase is quite short because both are designed for speed, mountain bikes and road bikes, but road bikes are designed to go fast on a road. And to go fast on the road, you need to reduce aerodynamic drag as much as possible, because that is the biggest thing stopping you from going faster. Whereas on a mountain bike, gravity is what makes you go faster. Pushing the bike downhill, that's how you get fast. So it doesn't really matter how heavy the bike is or anything like that. The only thing stopping you from going faster is confidence. If you feel like you're going to fly over the handlebars at any given moment, you're going to want to hit the brakes every now and then, so you're going to go slower. A gravel bike tries to combine those things together. It's going to get you to adequate speed, like relatively fast speeds on the road and relatively fast speeds on a dirt track. It's just not going to beat dedicated road bikes or beat dedicated mountain bikes. And when I say mountain bikes, I mean this thing's not going to be doing downhill tracks or anything like that. But blue trails, some of them, and single track, perfectly fine for that. So let's crack this open. Now that I've explained that. BikeOnline is the exclusive distributor for Polygon. Polygon's come along and they've come to challenge the main giant Trek specialized brands with bikes that are significantly lower cost but come with the same level of components, which is why I wanted to do a review on this. So, got the box open, care package. Now this usually contains your tools and a manual as well, but let's see what's inside of it. Yep, so you get a tool, which is for your pedals, and there's a multi-tool in there as well, which is good for undoing a lot of the hex bolts and things around the bike. Oh, and the pedals are in there as well. I'll put that to the side. Now this thing comes pretty much 80% assembled. Everything's assembled except for the wheels and the handlebars. Once you put them on, the bike's done. Take rid of that. And let's lift it out. And that is how it's packaged. So as you can see, the rear wheel's on, everything's on. The seat post is strapped here, so the seat post just needs to go in here. The handlebars just need to go in here. The fork is already installed. The rear wheel just needs to go into that fork. Put your pedals on, and that's it. So I'm going to cut away from this now and put this together, and the next time you see me, I should be on a fully assembled bike. So this is the Polygon Bend R2 gravel bike, which is on sale on BikeOnline at the moment for $1,099. And this is what you get for your money. Now, I'm 177 centimeters tall, so about 5'10", 5'11", and I bought the size medium, and I've sat on this, and it feels pretty comfortable and the right size for me. So if you're around that size, definitely go for the medium. But yeah, for what you get for the money, it is exceptional value. So let's go into what you get in a little bit more detail. Starting with the group set, and we're running a 9-speed Shimano Sora driveline, which is commonly used on entry-level road bikes. At the back, we're running a 9-speed 11 to 34 tooth Shimano cassette. And up the front, we're running a no-name alloy crank set, which has a 46 and 34 tooth chainring combo, changed by a Shimano Sora front derailleur. And as you can see, it is a square taper bottom bracket and a 170mm crank. And I've just installed my Morocco flat pedals, which I picked up from AliExpress. Up top, we've got 400mm wide flared drop bars with Shimano Sora shifters with mechanically actuated brakes. Spinning around to the other side, and we've got a 90mm alloy stem, which is made by Entity, which is Polygon's in-house brand. There is also a lot of stereo tube there, and they've provided a number of spaces so you can adjust it to your liking. And shifting down to the wheels, both the front and rears are running 12mm through axles.
Polygon Bend R2 comes with mechanically actuated disc brakes, and it has 160mm rotors front and rear with single piston Tektro brakes. The saddle is made by Entity and comes with a standard collar, but I've upgraded it to a quick release collar I got from AliExpress. Being a gravel bike, it comes with a number of attachment points, including attachment points on the carbon fork, a couple of attachment points underneath the down tube as well as within the triangle, which is where I've got my bottle holders at the moment, as well as pannier rack attachments on the seat stays. And lastly to the wheels, and the Polygon Bend R2 is a 650B gravel bike, and it comes standard with these V-Rail Sport skin wall tyres that are 650B by 47 width. Now a quick weight check now that the bike is completely assembled, and it's come in at 11.37 kilograms, and that's with my pedals attached, as well as my carbon bottle holders and a couple of handlebar attachments as well. But now, let's take it out for a ride and I'll give you my first impressions. Now, this wasn't my first ride, this was actually I think my third. The drivetrain did a bit of dialing in and I did that a couple of times, but now that that has been completed, I must say that this bike rides very smoothly. For the price that you pay, just over $1,000, it is a very smooth bike to ride. The wheels are quiet, it's agile, the shifting shifts great for a entry-level road bike group set. No complaints there at all. The handlebars, even though they are only 400 wide, they did feel quite narrow, and I actually did another measurement, and that's when I came to the conclusion that the tops are actually only 380mm wide and they flare out to 440. But once you got used to it, it was alright. It needs a little bit of dialing in. The stem is angled down, there's a -degree angle to it, so I'm going to probably flip that to a positive just to give it a bit more height. But it felt very comfortable in the hands. Turning was great, the steerer tube and everything was greased up, ready to go, very smooth, no issues there either. As far as things that might require further adjustment or changing, the brakes felt very weak. They are mechanically actuated disc brakes, and if you're familiar with bike brakes, mechanically actuated brakes, particularly on a road bike, they always feel underpowered. Even compared to rim brakes, you'd much prefer to have rim brakes than you would mechanically actuated disc brakes. So probably one of the first upgrades I'm going to do is upgrade the brakes on this, because they do feel very underpowered and could get a little bit sketchy in some places. I'd like to have a bit more confidence in the braking. The next thing I might actually change on it is the saddle. I didn't really ride it for very long, but the saddle did feel a little bit uncomfortable, at least for me. It might be fine for everyone else, but for me personally, I don't usually change saddles a lot on my bikes, but this one just didn't sit comfortably with me, so I'll probably change that as well. So there's actually one thing I'd probably actually like more doing than actually riding the bike, and that's actually tinkering and doing upgrades to bikes. One of the main purposes of this channel, and something I'm going to be uploading a fair bit of in the coming months, are various upgrades I'm going to be making to this bike. So not just the brakes and the saddle, I'm also going to do what I can to reduce the weight of it as much as possible. So that'll mean playing around with the wheels, tyres, even the bottom bracket and the cranks. So keep an eye out for those videos going forward.
So that is the Polygon Bend R2 gravel bike in a nutshell. It is a great little bike to hit the roads and hit the trail. And if you're just starting out for the first time, it's a great option to consider if you're not sure what to get. As for the channel, Beyond Bikes, it's going to be different from my other channel, Beyond EV. It's not just going to focus on one brand. This channel is actually going to focus on budget-friendly cycling in general. So not just Polygon, it'll be focusing on all things cost-effective cycling. The bike that I'm starting with is very cost-effective, the entry-level Bend bike, but I'll be doing upgrades to it and using budget upgrade parts to make this bike even better. So I'll be doing reviews on those parts as well as how-to videos on how to apply them to your bike. So if you like this type of content, make sure to give the video a like and hit the subscribe button down below if you want to see more videos. I've got plenty more headed your way. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.